But then when it comes to the questions of immigration, those are hugely complex for several interlocking reasons. One of them, which I think we've ignored very often, is that the so-called Western world, the world of Northwest Europe, the world of America, and then with Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, certainly, and some other parts, but particularly those, we have had for the last 200 or 300 years what's called the Enlightenment, where we have developed our technological skills, our science, our learning, our culture, etc. And we have become not only the enlightened ones, but the well off ones. We've gone round the rest of the world, making our empires and acquiring wealth and status and prestige. And sooner or later, there was going to be a day of reckoning when the rest of the world, think of somebody growing up in a country like, I don't know, Somalia or somewhere, or South Sudan, and hearing tell that there are countries where you can be free, where the roads are well paved, where there's electricity, where there's food for everyone, etc., etc. Oh, please, can I and my family have even a little bit of that? You can understand that many people feel it's payback time. You came and colonized us, and now we actually want to share some of the results of that. So, all that is sort of going on behind the mass migrations that are taking place in our time of people streaming towards the countries that are affluent and apparently better off. We know that the affluent countries have got all sorts of problems, but people looking from the outside only see life would be better there. They may or may not be right, but that's the perception. So naturally, for us to say, no, 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 we're all right, we're building a big wall to keep you lot out, goodbye, go away, that seems to be pretty heartless, to be honest, granted 200 or 300 years of the way that the world history has gone. At the same time, when, as in the case of my country, when a country is geographically very small, I mean, you could fit the country of England 3 or 4 times into the state of North Carolina alone. When you've got a country that's very small and has a large immigration going on the whole time, some people coming legally and many people coming illegally, we simply can't cope with that. We weren't ready for it. Our social services aren't up for it. It floods our education system. And there are many people in my country who have the best will in the world and say, we realize these people are hurting. We want to help them. But it's very difficult because with our tax money, etc., the government hasn't got the resources to cope with yet another 500,000 coming in here, and yet another 500,000 coming in here. At the same time, Jesus himself was an asylum seeker. Jesus himself, with his mother Mary and with Joseph, when they had to flee into Egypt for safety, and only when it was relatively safe did they come back again to their own homeland. And so, right from the start of the gospel story, we have this sense of Jesus leading the way into exile, Jesus leading the way into the seeking of asylum. And so it doesn't sound too good, as they say these days, the optics are not good, of saying, oh, therefore, we're not going to bother about you lot. We don't need any more immigrants. Thank you very much. Actually, a country like America got great by having people from all over the world coming. And they used to say, well, that's what the Statue of Liberty was all about. Come here and we together will make a whole new country and there's room for everyone. Now, of course, there may be limits, there may be problems, there are problems. And countries that are large enough, like America or Canada, they still have to operate some kind of immigration policy. The problem has come, I think, from the implicit xenophobia of so many, including tragically many Christians from the white or Caucasian background, who actually have always wanted to keep other people who look differently or sounded differently or behaved differently, to keep them at arm's length. The time for that has passed. We've got to think more wisely, more humanely. But globally, we need a much, much better coordinated strategy than we've had, than we've needed to have, for how to deal with this as a global problem and not simply try to pick off different bits of local situations. Now, this is just for starters. I'm not a politician, but this is what I'm observing day by day, week by week in our world, in my country. But the underlying principle of God wanting his world to be organized by wise, humble humans, and of the church's responsibility to hold those humans to account, to speak truth to power against the day when God will eventually put all things right. That's the basis. Now, let's work forward from there.